Picture a typical Wednesday night in Denton, Texas. College town known for its music scene, pretty safe overall.
Yeah.
So this young woman, Jacqueline Vandagriff, student at Texas Women's University, decides to go out with some friends.
Uh-huh.
Later on, security footage shows her at a bar talking with a man named Charles Dean Bryant. And no one at the time could have imagined that this, seemingly normal encounter would lead to such a horrific ending. It's one of those cases that really reminds us that evil can be lurking just beneath the surface, even in seemingly ordinary places.
Right.
Welcome to CrimePod Castle's Twisted Crime series. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. We're going to take a deep dive into the case of Jacqueline Vandagriff.
Okay, so what really gets me about this case is the stark contrast between the setting and the brutality of what happened. Denton, as we said, it's a college town, vibrant social scene, generally considered pretty safe. But this is where a young woman's life was tragically cut short.
Yeah, it's hard to fathom something so horrific happening in a place that's supposed to be safe. Jackie, as she was known to her friends and family, she's just 24 years old, a bright, promising nutrition major, had her whole life ahead of her.
And that's what makes it so unsettling. It just shatters that illusion of safety that we all want to hold on to, especially in places that feel familiar. It really underscores how important it is to be vigilant, to trust our instincts, even when we think we're in a safe environment.
You're so right. It's a chilling reminder that we can never be too careful. So let's go back to that night, September 13, 2016. Jackie goes to this local bar, really popular with students, and that's where she meets Charles Dean Bryant, a man with, and this is important, a very disturbing past.
Here's where things take a dark turn. Just days before this meeting, Bryant's ex-girlfriend had actually filed a restraining order against him. Stalking, harassment, you name it. It paints a picture of someone who's obsessive, who can't respect boundaries. These were huge red flags that, sadly, Jackie wouldn't have known about.
It's just heartbreaking to think she was completely unaware of the danger. You see the security footage from the bar, and they're just engaging in what looks like casual conversation. Witnesses even saw them leaving together, probably assumed it was just two people meeting for a drink or something.
And that's the scary part, right? Predators often use charm. They manipulate to gain trust. They lull their victims into this false sense of security. Danger doesn't always wear a mask. Sometimes it wears a smile.
That's so true, and in Jackie's case, the consequences were absolutely devastating. The very next morning, near Grapevine Lake, not far from Denton, a truly horrifying discovery is made.
A park employee stumbles upon a scene that, honestly, would make your blood run cold. A body, burned beyond recognition, just discarded in a blue kiddie pool.
Can you imagine coming across that? It was unimaginable. The remains were so badly damaged that dental records were needed to identify the victim. And tragically, it was Jacqueline Vandagriff.
The level of brutality, it really points to a level of rage, of premeditation that is just deeply disturbing. Burning the body, hiding it like that, it was clearly a calculated attempt to conceal the crime.
It's horrifying. So the investigation immediately zeroes in on Charles Dean Bryant. Phone records put him with Jackie in those final hours, making him the prime suspect. But what they uncover next is even more chilling.
Here's the thing. Bryant was using Jackie's social media accounts after she was already dead, posting messages, trying to make it seem like she was still alive. It was a cruel trick to mislead her friends and family, buy himself some time.
It sends shivers down my spine just thinking about it. Jackie's loved ones clinging to hope, only to find out it was all a cruel fabrication.
Yeah, it's a disturbing trend, using social media to twist the knife like that.
And let's not forget about those internet searches Bryant made just days before meeting Jackie, searching for information on how to, get rid of a body.
Right, absolutely. That became a critical piece of evidence. The searches, the methods he looked up, they eerily matched how Jackie's remains were found. It paints a clear picture of premeditation, of a man who had carefully planned this horrific act in advance.
It's clear we're dealing with someone who went to great lengths to cover his tracks. But thankfully, investigators, using the digital trail, forensics, good old-fashioned detective work, were able to piece things together.
And it all led to the same conclusion. Charles Dean Bryant was responsible for the brutal murder of Jacqueline Vandagriff. It's a harsh reality, even in a place like Denton where people feel safe and connected, something this awful can still happen.
Yeah, it's a tough pill to swallow. We often think these tragedies only happen somewhere else, to someone else. But Jackie's story, it hits home. It could happen anywhere, to anyone.
Exactly. It makes you realize that we can never truly be complacent, that danger can be closer than we think.
It makes you think back to that night at the bar. Wonder if anyone could have seen the signs, done something, anything, to prevent this.
Right, you can't help but wonder. Witnesses saw them talking, leaving together, but nobody suspected anything was wrong.
It's easy to judge in hindsight, but in the moment, it probably just seemed like any other encounter. It's a reminder of how insidious these predators can be, how they blend in, appear harmless.
Exactly. They operate in plain sight. They're masters of deception. They use charm and manipulation to disarm their victims and the people around them. It's a chilling thought, but we need to acknowledge that this is how they work.
It makes you question everything. How can we protect ourselves, the people we care about, from someone who's so good at hiding their true intentions?
It's a question we all grapple with, and there are no easy answers, unfortunately, but there are things we can do to minimize our risk.
Like what? What can we do to be more vigilant in our daily lives?
Well, first and foremost, trust your gut. If something feels off, if someone's behavior is setting off alarm bells, don't ignore it. Better to be safe than sorry.
That's so true. We often second-guess ourselves, worry about overreacting, but those instincts can be lifesavers.
Absolutely. And be aware of your surroundings, especially in social settings. Pay attention to who's around you. Be mindful of alcohol consumption because it can impair judgment, make you more vulnerable.
Good point. Alcohol can definitely lower inhibitions, make us less aware of potential dangers.
Right. And if you see something that seems suspicious, something that just doesn't feel right, don't hesitate to speak up. Tell a bartender, security, or just check on the person who seems vulnerable. Your actions could make a real difference.
It's a sad reality that we even have to think about these things, but predators exist, and they often target those who seem vulnerable or alone.
Sadly, it's true. But by being aware of their tactics, empowering ourselves and each other with knowledge and awareness, we can create a safer environment for everyone.
It's all about building a culture of vigilance, of support, looking out for one another, being willing to step in when something's not right.
Exactly. It's a shared responsibility, a collective effort to protect ourselves and our communities from those who would do us harm.
Jackie's story is a tragic reminder that evil can be hiding anywhere, but it also highlights the importance of community, of awareness, and the power of speaking up.
It should serve as a wake-up call, a reminder to be mindful of our own safety and the safety of those around us.
So let's shift gears a bit and talk about the role of digital evidence in this case. It's fascinating how technology can be a tool for both criminals and for bringing them to justice.
Right, it's a double-edged sword. In Jackie's case, the digital trail was absolutely crucial in solving the crime and getting that conviction.
You remember how Bryant used Jackie's social media after her death, trying to make everyone believe she was still alive?
Chilling, wasn't it? A calculated manipulation designed to deceive and buy him time.
But in the end, those posts became a key piece of evidence against him, proving his involvement in her disappearance.
Exactly. Investigators traced those posts right back to him, exposing his lies.
And then there were those internet searches he made about getting rid of a body, just days before meeting Jackie. It's like a digital smoking gun.
Oh, absolutely. Those searches were incredibly damning. Premeditation, planning, the fact that his searches mirrored how Jackie's remains were found, and it all added up.
It's amazing how seemingly innocent online activity can turn into powerful evidence. It's a reminder that our every move can leave a trace in the digital world.
We leave a digital footprint everywhere we go. Our movements, our conversations, our thoughts, it's all there.
It's both incredible and a little frightening, isn't it?
It is. We need to be mindful of our online activities and understand that our actions can have real-world consequences.
But in this case, technology served justice. The digital evidence, along with everything else, clearly pointed to Bryant's guilt.
No doubt about it. It was a testament to forensic technology and the hard work of the investigators who put all those pieces together.
It's a reminder that even though technology could be misused, it can also be a powerful force for good, especially in law enforcement.
Definitely. We often focus on the negative aspects of technology, but it's crucial to remember that it can be used to uncover the truth and hold criminals accountable.
And in Jackie's case, it played a vital role in bringing her killer to justice.
Her case is a perfect example of how criminal investigations are changing in the digital age. Virtual clues can be just as important as physical evidence.
It's a fascinating, constantly evolving field.
Absolutely. Law enforcement is always adapting, developing new methods and strategies to keep up with the ever-changing digital landscape.
Okay, so let's talk about the trial. What happened when Charles Dean Bryant finally had to face a jury for his crimes?
Well, the trial was a huge media event, lots of public interest. The prosecution presented a really compelling case, mountains of evidence pointing to Bryant's guilt.
What kind of evidence did they have?
Oh, all the stuff we've talked about, the social media manipulation, the internet searches, phone records putting him with Jackie, the surveillance footage from the bar.
That's a lot. And was there any physical evidence linking him to the crime scene?
Oh, yeah. Forensic experts found traces of Jackie's blood in Bryant's car, fibers from her clothing, the whole 9 yards.
So the physical evidence backed up the digital trail.
Exactly. They built a strong case, arguing that Bryant lured Jackie from the bar, murdered her, then tried to cover it up by burning her body and messing with her social media.
And what about the defense? What was their approach?
Well, they had an uphill battle, given the overwhelming evidence against their client. They tried to poke holes in the prosecution case, claiming the evidence was circumstantial, that there could be other explanations.
Did they come up with any alternative theories about what might have happened to Jackie?
They suggested that Jackie might have left the bar with someone else, or that it was a random act of violence unrelated to Bryant.
But the jury didn't buy it.
Not at all. The prosecution shot down those claims, presenting a clear and convincing narrative that put the blame squarely on Bryant.
Sounds like the defense had a tough time challenging the prosecution's case.
They really did. The evidence was just too strong.
What about Bryant himself? Did he take the stand?
No, he didn't. Chose to remain silent throughout the trial.
That's a risky move.
It can be. Sometimes a defendant's testimony can help them, but in this case, I doubt it would have made a difference.
So after all the evidence, the arguments, what was the jury's verdict?
After deliberating for a while, they came back with a guilty verdict. Charles Dean Bryant was convicted of capital murder.
And what was his sentence?
Life in prison without the possibility of parole.
Wow. A harsh sentence, but considering the brutality of his crimes, it seems justified.
The judge called Bryant's actions cold, calculated, and depraved, and said he deserved to spend the rest of his life locked up.
What about Jackie's family and friends? How did they react?
They were relieved that justice was served, but obviously still devastated by the loss of Jackie.
It's a bittersweet victory, isn't it? Closure, but mixed with the immense pain of losing someone you love.
It is. No verdict can truly bring someone back, but knowing the person responsible is being held accountable can provide some comfort.
Jackie's case is a stark reminder of the darkness that exists in the world, but it also highlights the resilience of the human spirit, the importance of seeking justice, and the strength we find in community.
Her story should motivate us to be more vigilant, support each other, and never stop fighting for a safer world.
You know, it's almost unbelievable that even with all the evidence staring him in the face, Bryant still tried to deny everything. The lengths he went to, manipulating Jackie's social media to create this whole false reality, it just shows you how twisted he was.
Right, absolutely zero remorse. Like he didn't even care about the pain he was causing Jackie's family and friends, adding to their grief. He took her life and then wanted to control the narrative, even in death.
It's a level of cruelty that's hard to wrap your head around, but thankfully the jury wasn't fooled. And in the end, justice prevailed.
It was a powerful moment. The conviction, the sentence, it sent a clear message. We're not going to tolerate this. We will hold people accountable for these horrific acts.
There's some comfort in knowing he'll never be able to hurt anyone else. But the impact of this tragedy, it goes way beyond just Jackie's loved ones. It really shook the entire community.
Yeah, it really did. It shattered that sense of security, that small-town feeling people had in Denton. I think it forced everyone to confront the fact that evil can exist anywhere, even in a place that feels safe and familiar.
It's a harsh reminder that we can never let our guard down completely. We can't live in fear, of course, but we can learn from what happened to Jackie and take steps to protect ourselves and each other.
Being aware is so important. Knowing the signs of predatory behavior, trusting your gut, speaking up if something seems wrong, all of these things can potentially save lives.
And it's about looking out for one another, creating an environment where people feel comfortable speaking up, reaching out for help if they need it.
That's crucial. We talk about bystander intervention with bullying or harassment, but it's just as important if we think someone might be in danger. A simple act of kindness, checking in on someone, it could make all the difference.
Jackie's story is a tragedy, a senseless loss. But if we can use it to create change, to raise awareness and encourage a culture of vigilance and support, then maybe something good can come from this horrific event.
I agree. Her memory can live on in the positive changes we make, in the lives we save, and the stronger communities we build. And that's a powerful reminder of the human spirit's strength, even in the face of terrible darkness.
Thanks for joining us today as we explore this difficult but important case. If you're interested in more true crime stories like this, be sure to follow and subscribe to CrimePod Castle. And don't forget to check out our YouTube channel for bonus content and behind-the-scenes stuff. Until next time, everyone, stay safe.